SCP-096 is one of the most popular SCPs on the entire Wiki. Such a simple yet terrifying concept that has been a staple of many SCP games. The king of all, Containment Breach, gave him an enormous amount of attention with its inclusion, and made him serve as a very meaningful obstacle throughout the game. Nowadays, Containment Breach is no longer in development. However, Secret Laboratory has carried the torch to keep the SCP franchise relevant, with it being a multiplayer game, and therefore has much more replayability. 096 was naturally a must-have inclusion for Northwood Studios. Since he was such a good addition to Containment Breach, of course it would be reasonable to think it'd be just as good of one for their game. However, something went wrong. I've been playing this game since 2018, and I've observed that the Shy Guy has historically been one of the most controversial and complained about features in the entire game. Everyone seems to have some kind of gripe with him. In addition, that was such a simple task for a single-player game has shown to not translate very well in a multiplayer experience. SCP-096 had an entire yearly update dedicated to him, and for some people, even this wasn't enough. Why is Shy Guy bad for SL? SCP-096 is a tall and pale humanoid creature whose face you do not want to look at, even from a photo or camera. Doing so will trigger him into a chaotic frenzy until he kills everyone who saw its face. He has an almost 100% kill rate, with the only failure being against 682. Containment Breach saw the potential for how this SCP can add lots of horror and fun to the game. Shy Guy is constantly weeping, and you will hear it long before you actually reach him. Since you know not to look at its face, you look down at the ground to keep 096 in a docile state. This limits your observation of your surroundings, which opens you up to other threats. This game design was brilliant. It added a layer of tension in a very creative way, while still keeping the outcome of his appearance in the player's control. If you know what you're doing, getting away from him can be as simple as just closing the door behind you on your way to the next room. He won't try to come after you like the other SCPs. Even though he technically is an entity, he functions more like an environment hazard. He forces you to play differently and in a much more handicapping way, which can put you in a massive disadvantage at the wrong place and the wrong time. However, it is still more than manageable for the player, as an AI. SL is very different. This PvP game replaces that AI with a playable character. This inherently changes many ways the SCP needs to function. While a 096 AI has no interest in pursuing players while in its docile state, a 096 player has an active goal to kill all humans and will aim to intentionally get players to look at him so he can then kill them. I think this system raises several concerns. For one, as the 096 player, if they know not to look at your face, there's no way for you to kill them on your own. You're sometimes left just awkwardly standing there with no way of making progress until a teammate comes to help you, who might not always be there. Those teammates contribute to a second concern. For the human classes, you lose a lot of that manageability when Shy Guy is trying to get you to look at him. Instead of hearing it from far away, Shy Guy's weeping in SL blends in a little more with the rest of the environment and isn't as immediately noticeable. He also has ways to quiet it down, which is used to catch you by surprise behind essential doors and gateways. The worst one by far is the Shy Guy Peanut combo. While you can't look at Shy Guy, you have to look at SCP-173. It's manageable in Containment Breach because 096 won't follow 173 in attacking you, but in this game where he is, along with the fact you have to look at the doors to open them, your options in this scenario are extremely limited and usually results in you dead. And what happens once you look at his face? That's it, you die. Have fun sitting in spectator for the next 4 minutes. Yeah, I guess there's a cooldown period for you to get away, but how often does that save you? Especially early game. It's very situational on when and where it happens, and isn't so much an engaging back and forth that you have control over. There's nothing fun about knowing you're gonna die over something you had no way of even outplaying. That cooldown period is an example of the last problem I have with Shy Guy and SL. This one's gonna be controversial. It creates lore inaccuracies. I know, I already made a dedicated video about that topic. Look, I want to feel truly immersed in the SCP world, to feel the true horror of what these creatures are. When Northwood makes decisions like a cooldown on his rage state, a health bar that can be dropped down by bullets, and a goal to intentionally get looked at, I don't really feel like I'm actually in the SCP world or that I'm actually playing as these characters. I mean, look, even if you don't care about this lore stuff, still consider the points about gameplay I made. Shy Guy worked in Containment Breach because it functioned as an environment hazard. However, SL tries to turn that environment hazard into an active hostile entity, and this inherently doesn't work. In my SCP game, I would like to turn the Shy Guy back into that environment hazard.
Maybe a better solution would be, again, turning this 096 into an NPC and giving some more tolerance, so we would turn it into more of a passive environmental hazard rather than a playable SCP.
That's what I would like to do. In a multiplayer SCP game, I would like to make Shy Guy unplayable in his docile state. It will be an AI. But when he gets enraged, a spectator can then play as him in his enraged state. Once he reverts back to docile, the player will be sent back to spectator. That's the fun part of being 096 anyway, when you're going on a rampage to hunt people down, not when you're finicking to get looked at. This change would allow me to implement him in a more lore-accurate way. I could make him immune to damage. I could make his rampage infinite until his target dies. I could make him an otherwise docile entity. Hubert himself is who brought up the idea of Shy Guy being a bot. Does this mean we can expect this change in SL? I don't have faith in that happening.
That would be a good long-term solution, which isn't feasible as of right now because of 096 having too many fans.
I'm one guy with one opinion, whose opinions tend to be controversial. Think about the big picture. If Northwood were to make a redesign this drastic, how do you think the wider community would react? There would be mayhem, and it would severely divide the fanbase. No matter what they do, people will be upset because goddammit, the SCP community can't ever agree on fucking anything. Hey man, if they were to make an update like this, I would endorse it and make a video talking about how awesome Northwood is. But after an update as massive and defining as Scopophobia, I realistically just don't see them doing another rework. They already have too many reworks on their plate. I hope that I am able to explore these ideas with my own SCP game. Let me show you the progress I've made towards it. Last video about SCP, I announced that I canceled this game's development and was instead going to pursue a single-player SCP game. The reason for this was because implementing multiplayer seemed like a task too big for me to tackle, and I simply wasn't ready for it. I believe the idea for this single-player SCP game is so interesting, and I think there would be lots of hype around it if I were to announce it with a trailer. However, as I continued to work on this new project, I wasn't really feeling the same passion and excitement for it. What motivated me into starting this YouTube series was there was this multiplayer game I wanted to make. There were things about SL I wasn't happy with, and I wanted to take matters into my own hands to address those things. I also wanted to expand and explore new ideas. I just wasn't feeling motivated or satisfied developing this single-player game because it wasn't fulfilling the things that inspired me to start game development in the first place. So, I gave multiplayer a second try. I watched more tutorials about it, and I feel like now I have a better understanding of how it works. I opened a new Godot project to test out some SCP features in a multiplayer setting, and currently I believe I have something down. It's not very clean or flexible right now, but it's enough to continue adding cool features and making videos about them on YouTube. I am very relieved to announce that the original multiplayer SCP game is back in development. If you've gotten to this point in the video, you've likely noticed how well edited and filmed this video is. This is because I hold my content to a very high standard of quality. But right now, I'm running into a problem that I am desperate for help with. To film many of the shots of SCP-SL used in this video, I depended on the filmmaker role, which is only accessible from the admin panel. To get access to this admin panel, I used the host command in the console to create a server that only I can join. I was able to get many good shots using this strategy, but I was also heavily limited. For example, I can spawn a dummy D-class in front of a Tesla gate, but I can't make the dummy run into that Tesla gate. I can show a bunch of MTF in front of Gate B, but I can't show them running too heavy from Gate B or engaging in combat. Everything you see is a still sequence with no exciting action going on. To get good clips of that exciting action, I need access to the admin panel in a server that has a high player population on a consistent basis, which means I need a server that will make me a moderator. So far, I have not found a server willing to give me that. If you are an owner, admin, or moderator of at least a somewhat popular SCPSL server and are interested in helping me out with my issue, hit me up. I have a YouTube channel of over 1,400 subscribers and make videos that reach thousands more in views. I also have coding experience in the Godot Engine. Let me know what you want in return. I have value to offer. Even if you aren't on a staff team, but you still play regularly on an SL server, let the staff of that server know about this video. If I am able to get the help I need with this problem, you can all look forward to some immensely high quality SCP content.